So really at the core of it, it is belief. It is belief that the law of attraction, that manifestation works. And as we're going to get into in this podcast, it's the belief, the inner knowing that you are worthy of your desires. It's that inner knowing of saying like, yes, because I desire it in this lifetime means that I am worthy of that. That thing that I desire desires me. And so it's really working toward those core beliefs and working through clearing any unconscious blocks so that you can go after those things that you want without fear and in time manifest those.
Welcome my beautiful guest, Anette De La Rosa. She is a life and business coach, speaker, and co-founder VP of business development and coaching partnerships at Cohere, an all-in-one coaching platform that provides coaches and service providers with the tools and software to launch and scale their online business. In her coaching business, company, and life, she specializes in helping individuals expand their freedom, love, and purpose, and abundance while starting and scaling online coaching businesses. Anette De La Rosa. I love your name, first of all. I must say that because now I'm finally saying it, Anette De La Rosa. And I know now you're incorporating your last name, which is Oran. Am I saying it correct?
It's Oran, but yes, now I'm in this space where I'm like, I don't even know what my name is. Is it Annette De La Rosa? Is it Annette De La Rosa Oran? Or is it just Annette Oran? I'm figuring it out.
Well, I love it. It's just so beautiful. And you are a shining light. I'm so happy to finally connect with you and have you on Passion, Love, Pursuit podcast. Such a pleasure.
Likewise, Erica. I'm so grateful to finally connect. I mean, we've been following each other for such a long time, but it's great to finally get to chat and meet. Always a good time.
Great. Well, where are you right now? Are you in Arizona? Am I correct?
Yes, I'm located in Phoenix, right in downtown Phoenix. So beautiful. I find that it's a hidden gem. Some people say, they complain about the heat, but Phoenix is amazing and we're super close to Sedona. So it's just a really magical place.
I hear you. Yeah. So you're like an hour and a half, 2 hours from Sedona, that is definitely one of my favorite places to visit. So I agree.
Amazing.
It's quite nice.
Where are you, Erica?
I'm in Los Angeles. So I was born and raised here actually. So I'm still here. I've stepped out of Los Angeles only 4 months of my life. I've lived somewhere else and that happened to be Vegas. I moved there with one of my first boyfriends and I'm back in LA and until something else takes me elsewhere. So
love it. Beautiful.
Well, so I always like to begin with somebody's story that basically how you got to where you are today. So people could get to know you, yourself, and just your journey. So if you could share a little bit of your journey and what led you into what you do today.
I would love to. And I'll just start by saying that I was totally one of those young girls who I always knew that I wanted to do something that really impacted people's lives. But growing up, I really had no role models or no examples of entrepreneurship or what that even meant that I wanted to be when I grew up. So when I was growing up, I actually really wanted to be a model or an actress just because I saw those roles as being like two roles that got to really have an impact on people's lives. And so that was kind of my role model growing up. And I got into the law of attraction when I was 16. And I read the book, The Secret, which was really kind of this eye opener for me at the time. For those of you, I'm sure most people have read or heard about The Secret. That was an eye opener for me because I realized that we really had the power to create and manifest anything that we wanted in our lives. So at that time, when I was 16 in high school, clueless as to what I really wanted to do when I quote unquote grew up, I started diving into just practicing what I learned from The Secret and really just testing it on for size and being like, let's see if this is even true. Can we really manifest? Like, if we think about something, does it just mean that it's going to pop up in our lives? And so that really kind of dove me into the world of manifestation. And I actually got into a lot of different teachers over time after that. But that experience for me growing up was really powerful because it paved the way for me to excel in sports using the law of attraction. And later on, quote unquote, manifesting my what I thought were some of my dream corporate positions, and becoming a personal trainer and things that I thought that I really, really wanted in the path toward my purpose. And so that was really kind of a powerful foundation for me. And then over time, I really realized in the fitness realm, for those of you who don't know my background, I was actually in fitness for a long time. I was a competitor. I became, fitness model, all of the things that I thought I really wanted in the fitness realm. That all led me to really realizing that my true purpose, my true calling was to help other women create what they really wanted in their lives. And so that started with, confidence coaching, clarity, and over time it's evolved into business coaching, because I really believe that as coaches, we have the power to support somebody in creating something in their lives that they're fully lit up by, and really supporting others and stepping into their purpose. And so, without making my story super long, all of these little pieces of law of attraction, astrology, spirituality, having my awakening when I was 18, all of this really kind of led me to realizing that we're here on this planet to do what our soul's purpose is. And for many of us, for most of us, that's helping others in some realm. And it's about finding what it is that really lights us up so that we can find a way to share that with others and help them on their path. So that's kind of a little gist of my story wrapped up in a few short minutes.
I love that. And I completely agree with you. I think that everything that is happening in life is leading us to our highest self. And whether that be in our purpose that we're meant to serve, or how we're going to show up, or how we're going to serve another, or be in a relationship, everything is just leading us to that place. As long as we are aware and listen to the lessons that we're so lucky to learn, to be honest, because it's there to teach us to only grow. So
1,000%. And it's really magical. You can never connect the dots looking forward, but looking back, you can see how every single thing has been guiding you deeper toward yourself, toward your inner self, your highest self. Every single experience, whether we label it as good or bad, I really believe in not labeling things as much as we can. They just are, it just is. And when we can really kind of look at all those experiences, we could always see that they've always been, quote unquote, guiding us home to ourselves.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Completely. So can you share with us an example of manifesting something in your life? I know you said you incorporated that into your fitness journey, but if you could pull out one specific thing, just so we know that where this really landed for you.
Yes. So where this first landed for me, when I read The Secret at the age of 16, at the time I had just joined the track team. Okay. And so my experiment was to say, if this really does work, then I'm going to be able to excel in track and field and become the fastest runner in my high school. It was just like a very random little thing that I tested it on with. And I did end up doing that. I became MVP in the track and field team, fastest runner for 3 years, went to the San Diego championships, got top 3, so did the thing, tested it on for size. And that piece of evidence for me was everything. It was really just proof to my subconscious mind, like, okay, you did it for this. Now let's see what else you can create in your life. So from there, everything that I have intentionally set for myself, I have manifested. And obviously some things take longer than we sometimes anticipate, and we have to be really patient. But I was able to, go to the school that I wanted, land the job that I wanted after the school, get into fitness, get my pro card, land, a cover, like all of those things that I really wanted. I can truly say that I always had the awareness that it was possible for me because I had proof from past experiences that I had manifested things. So really at the core of it, it is belief. It is belief that the law of attraction, that manifestation works. And as we're going to get into in this podcast, it's the belief, the inner knowing that you are worthy of your desires. It's that inner knowing of saying, like, yes, because I desire it in this lifetime means that I am worthy of that. That thing that I desire desires me. And so it's really working toward those core beliefs and working through clearing any unconscious blocks so that you can go after those things that you want without fear and in time manifest those. So obviously there's strategy, there's a lot of
Yeah.
work that gets involved. It's not like you just think about it and manifest it ever, as obviously your audience knows, but it all starts with that belief in yourself and in what you desire being possible.
Absolutely. So let's go deeper into that, if you don't mind. So this idea of self-worth, actually believing that we deserve what we want. And how do we get there if we are feeling low and we don't feel confident that we could actually have those things? Like, what would be, I don't know if you could bring yourself back to a time where you felt you didn't quite deserve or that you had the ability to have what you want. Can you bring us back there, and how did you work yourself out of that? Because I know you talk about, and for people listening, our subconscious beliefs are generally what we operate from. So those subconscious beliefs we're not even aware of. So we have to be able to tap into it to know what's blocking us, to then turn that around and then be able to believe we're able to achieve what we want to achieve. So
Yeah, this is such a powerful question. And I will say, just for everybody listening, that it's been a journey. And I don't think we've ever fully arrived until we're in this enlightened place, right? So it's always going to show up on a new level for us. But really, a lot of our unconscious beliefs and patterns started before the age of 7, right? And so I had a lot of things that I was working through as a younger girl. I really lacked confidence. I mean, a lot of people don't believe me now because I'm very extroverted, but I was very shy, and that wasn't true for me. I knew that I wasn't showing up in the way that I wanted to in life growing up. And so for me, it really kind of took getting really aware of both my ego, my highest self. So really understanding at the age of 18, I had this like awakening. And at 18, I really realized, I was like, I'm not my thoughts. I'm not what's happened to me. I am not those things. And I'm here on this planet to step into my highest self. So just having the awareness of you are not your past pain was really powerful for me at just from the get-go. So for anybody listening who's kind of like struggling and notices a lot of like lower self-worth beliefs or anything like that, just dive into spirituality in general and connecting to yourself and knowing that first and foremost, you're not those thoughts and you're not what happened to you in the past, right? And so it took me getting really present in the moment and being like, okay, there's parts of me that don't feel safe and that don't feel quote unquote whole. So let me really dig into why that occurred. For me, that's been powerful, kind of knowing where things originated, but also doing things like therapy, EMDR, really diving into, you mentioned it, subconscious patterns and going into like hypnotherapy. That's been really powerful for me as well. And really coming back to the truth that we are whole and that we've always been whole and that nothing can ever take our wholeness away. Just by being who we are already full. We're already whole. There's nothing that can take that away. And so, yes, there may be past pain, but anytime there is anything that occurred, whether it's sexual trauma, anything in the past, just know that you can heal that because you're not that. You are not, like, you're separate from what happened to you. And so that was really powerful for me. And obviously that took years and years and years. And I still do the work, right? It's not like we're like, oh, I feel whole all the time and I never, have these feelings. But usually you can tell what some of your limiting beliefs are, even subconsciously, if you fill in the gaps. And if you were to fill in the gaps and say, I am not blank enough. If you have something to fill there, there's something to work through, because at the heart of it, we want to come back to just knowing our worth wholeheartedly. All right. And so that was kind of a lot of different tools and things. But for me, it's just been like the spiritual path of remembering who the fuck I am and reminding others who we really are. Right. And I just get so passionate about this because I'm like, I want every single woman out there to know like she is whole. She's whole. And like, yes, sometimes it's hard to believe that, but how can we work through all of these different tools that exist nowadays for you to come back to that wholeness? And it's an experience. It's not just like up here, but it's really feeling it in your body and integrating it. Another thing that has been huge for me has been meditating every single day since 2017. And I remember feeling so much resistance of being like, I can't sit there and meditate. But it's really not even about erasing all of your thoughts, but it's again coming back to that space where you feel safe in your own body and where you feel like you've got yourself. You're this soul having a human experience, and you are in control. You are literally like the producer and the main character in the movie. So it's like, how get yourself to have this practice that brings you back to experiencing your wholeness from within. And for me, that's meditation, dancing, anything that gets me in my body.
You dropped so many nuggets there. So let's unpack that. Well, first of all, I completely agree that we are not broken. We are not incomplete. We are complete at our core, at our soul. It's just all of these things that have happened in our life has chipped away at us. But again, we are this beautiful wholeness at our core, and it's just uncovering that. And I think it's so important. And I talked about this the other day, that just getting quiet, just creating that space to get quiet with ourselves is the biggest blessing we could give ourselves, because that's when we're actually able to create that awareness of really what are our thoughts. And of course, meditation is the best way to get there. It could be a walk through nature, just getting quiet so you could hear what are your thoughts. Like you said, feel, if you say, I am not anything, there's something to work through. And also another way to notice that is like when something triggers you, is to ask yourself, like, why am I reacting to this? Like, what's the reason for this? And I think journaling, of course, is super important, especially when you're just starting out your journey on reconnecting to your authentic self or creating that self-love, self-worth again, is journaling. Because we could have all these thoughts, but if we don't actually, if we don't have something to look at and reflect on, then we'll never process it. So I think journaling is key when you're first starting off, at least.
It really, really is. And having a safe space to talk it out. I know journaling is a tool that you can always access by yourself, but something that's been really powerful for me, I do journal, but what I love the most is being able to have a safe space, having a therapist, having a coach to be able to say, this is what is coming up, and I want to work through it by talking it out. Because I've learned that I'm an external processor, and a lot of women are too. So again, whether it's journaling or talking it out, finding a way to get it out of your head and onto paper or just outside, so that you are not living with it and identified with it. You can now see it as separate from you.
I love that. It's so beautiful. And I think the good thing about, I was actually considering, I haven't been to a therapist in so long. I went to one when I was depressed, but I've listened to a lot of intelligent minds, of course, interviewing a lot of intelligent minds. And a lot of people continue going to a therapist, even when they are doing really well in life and everything is pretty put together. But it's just, like you said, someone to talk to so that you could separate it from yourself. I think that's so beautifully said. And I think sometimes we talk to friends, but our friends always want to support us and kind of just cheer us on. So they might not show you your shadows. They might not be radically honest with what maybe you need to work on, or that you're seeing it from this poor perspective or whatever. So it's great to talk to somebody that is non-judgmental and that's able to give you some radical, honest truth and just hold that space for you. So I think that's so beautiful. I've been considering it lately just because I am continuing to evolve and become more. So I love that advice, truly.
Yeah. And I love this just from one of my friends who's a counselor in mental health. He's like, it's just about upgrading your system. It's like you're going to a therapist, not because you have trauma, you're going there because you're just constantly upgrading and up leveling. And in order to do that, you need to have those strong support systems. And like you said, I'm all about strong friendships, calling each other out. But when it comes to like, if I'm working through something deep, I don't go to my friends because I don't want to be comforted. I want to be heard and have tools from a therapist to actually be able to come back to my own truth. And so that is what really helps me.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, moving more into the self-worth piece, because I believe that is the foundation of manifesting something in our life, as we talked about, is believing we could have it. So, in the process of manifestation, if you could walk us through, what do you recommend as far as the steps to get there? Of course, there's so many people that have shared this, so I love hearing other people's perspective and how they walk us through it. So I'd love to hear your perspective on this and the foundation that we must start with.
Yeah, in order to manifest our goals, I really believe, and everybody's different, but for me, what has worked for me and clients is to first start with just clarity. And I don't mean having clarity on every single step because we cannot even know what step 100 is going to be in advance, but it's about knowing what the destination is. So it's about thinking of it as a GPS. You need to know where you're headed, but there's going to be many routes, right? And so know where you want to go, know what that end feeling is going to be when you get to that goal and what the destination is. So the tangible and the intangible, which is the feeling. And so then take that feeling. And if you want to experience more wealth in your life, I'm just going to share that as an example. So I was just sharing about some like money stuff yesterday. So if you want to experience more wealth in your life, ask yourself, what does that actually feel like in my body? And when I really got still with those questions, it really came down to feeling free, feeling free. And many of us think freedom comes from the outside. Oh, I'm going to have freedom once I have, unlimited money to pay all the bills and to do this and to do that. Yes, that's a powerful byproduct of freedom, but true freedom it starts from within. And what I shared earlier about really getting still with your body and even experiencing that feeling that you want that thing to bring you in your body every single day, and grounding that is so key. So I'm going to just give another example. So one is money, freedom might be that inner intangible. The other one might be something like, let's say you want to accomplish something in your career. So let's say you want to become a speaker, right? And what would it feel like to be on a stage? And how can you get yourself in that state every single day and start doing certain things that actually put you in that state? So that might be like starting a podcast. You get to experience what it's like being a speaker. And the reason why you're doing all this is you're literally programming not just your subconscious mind, but your body, every single cell within your body to experience the result right in the present moment. And the more you do that, the more you're in that vibration, that elevated state that matches what you want, the easier it is to manifest. And then I always really recommend, acting as if without faking it, but embodying it. Instead of fake it till you make it, embody it until you manifest it.
Love that.
So, like embody that, like don't fake it, because then your subconscious mind's gonna be like, this is BS, this is not true, right? But if you embody it, your subconscious mind knows that you are practicing what this feels like. And so with the example of becoming a speaker, I remember that was like such a big thing for me. It's like, I wanted to land my first paid speaking engagement. And so I was like, how can I embody it now? And I was like, well, one way that I can embody it now is I can host my own event. Like that would pay me to be a speaker, right? And so I did the thing that I wanted. So I put action towards something so that I can embody being that paid speaker. And then as a result, I ended up, landing my first paid speaking engagement that year. So you have to ground both energy and intention with action. and embodiment. And so it's like a mix of all of those things, having clarity and intention and like really grounding it on a day-to-day basis so that you're, again, every cell of your being is like, oh, I'm already that. And then you connect to that wholeness of already being what you want. And then there is like no effort toward manifesting it from there because you're already doing it. So I hope that kind of like encompasses a lot of different steps. Again, just to ground it, clarity on the direction, really feeling into it. What's that feeling every single day, and really practicing embodying it on a daily basis and taking action so that it already starts being your current reality now.
I love how you walk that through. Absolutely perfect. And I always like to say the universe doesn't give us what we want. It gives us who we are. So we need to become the person that's in alignment with what we want. Alignment is so important. I love how you say embodiment, because we need to embody that person that would have those things. That's so key. And I remember when I first learned more about this, and I'm continuing to learn about it because I'm all about manifestation and creating the dream life I wish and desire. And I remember when I was trying to attract a soulmate, and this whole idea of attract a soulmate, it sounds like all woo woo and a fantasy and, you know, all that stuff. But the idea is, if you desire this soulmate, this person, you have to get that clarity. What does that look like? Who's that person? And be, you know, obviously you could think about all the things you could, I mean, you could think about the physical aspects, but it's more, you want to think about those values you have in a person and what you wish for in a partner that you could see longevity with, that you'll have this match and alignment. And then you have to ask yourself the serious question, am I being the person that could have that person? So am I being honest? Do I have integrity? Am I, you know, am I fit? Do I eat healthy? Like all these things, like, am I embodying the person that would have that person that's honest, that has integrity, that has a good family and all these things? You need to become the person to attract in which you desire. And so as you were talking about, it's so important to create that alignment and that like energy, which I know The Secret talks about. And funny enough, I was telling my boyfriend last night, I'm like, let's watch The Secret as preparation for this interview, because I don't even think I've seen the movie. Of course, I know everything about it. But the whole idea is like energy attracts like energy. So if you are in this low energy state, negative state, you're not going to attract this positive person that's upbeat and full of life and light. It's a misalignment. So that's when we need to do the self-work and work on our self-worth, self-love, and come from that embodied state. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but come on the whole, but you need to be embodying in which you desire.
You totally do. And I love the conversation of attracting your soulmate. Like that was my experience as well. When I attracted my husband, it was like, I was in this state of just loving myself so much and having so much fun by myself. And obviously there's no coincidences. I wanted to also attract somebody who I had a lot of fun with, but I was having so much fun in my life, being single. I literally started dating just out of pure like, oh, this is going to be fun meeting new people. And of course, you know, I've shared this before. I met my husband on Bumble, and like date 3, you know, there's my husband, and like we totally fall for each other on the first date, and everything that I wanted is just like it magically happened. But I wasn't even necessarily looking for it. I knew that I wanted to be married to my soulmate one day, but it wasn't like I'm going on these dates to meet my husband. I was never thinking of it like that. And I think that's another really important thing for people to remember, is that part of manifestation, and I think this is where a lot of people are like, this is so confusing, is that you need to be unattached. You need to care. You care. You want it, you desire it. And I don't even like to say want, you desire it, because there's higher vibration to that. You desire it, and you know that you're worthy of it, but you're also completely unattached to the when. Because when we're attached to things needing to happen on our timeline right now, we are just pouring in so much needy energy. And if you think about people who are, if you've ever been on a date in the past where somebody was like really needy and like they wanted to be with you, that was when you were like, I need to pull away a little, like this is too much too fast, right? And that's the same needy energy that we give off to our goals and our desires when we are attached to the when. So it's like, let go of it, just know it's coming, act as if, and you can already experience the bliss now as if it's already real.
I think that's such an important piece that we need to hear, is that we have to release attachment and just let go and let be, because like you said, it's already coming. Just don't hold and grip onto it. Like this timing, I remember that's exactly why I repelled. And when I say repelled, because I actually repelled it by my actions of the need and the want and the desire of having this relationship. I actually, in that need, I pushed them away, and I totally take full responsibility for my actions. And that's another piece, is being just taking responsibility for the outcome in our life. And that's when we get to actually bring in what we want and desire, is just obviously seeing it, embodying it, and releasing attachment and letting go. So important.
It kind of comes back to wholeness, right? It's like, if you know you're already whole, you know you don't really need anything to be happy, because you're already that. And so you don't need a partner to make you whole, because you're already whole. So all of these things that you're after, it's like a fun game. Life is a fun game that we get to play. And I always say, like, life is like the greatest adventure, because we all know we're going to die one day. That's just a reality. And we just get to play. Like, nothing is as serious as we make it out to be.
Yeah.
Nothing is that serious. And I want to just remind everybody that, because on the path towards your goals, just lighten up a little bit, like have fun. This is a fun experiment with manifestation, experience, like, yes, go after all your dreams, but remind yourself that there is no like deadline for you to hit those goals. Like, it's just all a part of this fun adventure. At least that's how I see it. And I think that makes me a lot very just unattached to my goals, because I'm like, they're all going to happen anyway. Like, this is my timeline to just make the most of it. And I don't need to be attached to the when.
And it's a beautiful energy and space to be in. How freeing, talking about personal freedom, that is what it's all about, is letting that load, just like, it's all here, it's coming, I'm just going to have fun in the midst of it, but it takes work to get there. Of course, it takes work to get to that space to release and let go, especially when you feel, and I'll speak for women. Of course, women have somewhat a timeline. If you want to have children, if you want to get married, that pressure is on a lot of women. I know I've felt it many times, and I go in and out of it actually, but we have to, again, just, be able to get clear on what we want and move in alignment to which we would just desire, by taking actions and just embodying it every day. So I think that's just an important reminder, of course. But I think that's also really, really good that you mentioned, is having fun by yourself when we're talking about, and this applies to everything, right? Even having fun in the process of working towards a business goal, is having fun in the process and being able to do it on our own, even. That's so important. So we have to get clear on what fills us up, what lights us up, and what do we enjoy, asking all those really important questions and doing it.
This has been on my mind lately, and I've been sharing it a lot. Like, what if it gets to be easy? And what if it just gets to feel fluid and fun and fulfilling on the journey? How would you show up from that space of not needing things? I don't know if people are watching it or listening to it, but I'm like gripping my hands, of not needing it to be like a certain way or perfect, but just like releasing that and being like, I'm just gonna make this fun. I'm just gonna enjoy the journey toward my goals, because the truth is, we don't know when. We don't have like a guarantee as to when we're going to live by. So fun is at the core of so much of what you manifest. Is like, how much fun are you having on the journey toward your goals?
And then what do you think about when it comes to gratitude in the process of manifestation, how important that is?
Yeah, I find that gratitude is really elevating your vibration and tapping into what you want as if it's already real, right? And so it's really about integrating integrating it in your life to where you feel grateful for it all. And I mean all of it. Like, how can you get to a place where if something doesn't necessarily go according to plan, you can still feel grateful that the universe has your back, and this must mean that something better is coming. And developing that kind of mindset of gratitude where it's just ingrained in your being. You know, the other day I got a speeding ticket. I was on my way to San Diego. I was speeding, and immediately I took personal responsibility. I was like, I was speeding. This was horrible. And the cop ended up being like really nice and saying, you know, I won't get into like the long story, but basically in Arizona, it could have been like a misdemeanor if it was, you know, if he had been a bad cop or just mean that day. And he said, you know what, I'm going to let it slide, and I'm just going to put it as if you were going 5 over, but I want you to learn your lesson. And what I took from that experience, instead of feeling bad that I got a ticket, I immediately bursted into tears of gratitude. And I felt truly, and I'm not even just saying this, like I was telling my husband, I'm like, I am so grateful that I got this angel of a cop who basically let me learn my lesson in such a gentle way. And I experienced gratitude from that. And so that was my reminder for me. I'm like, it took me so long to get to this place where I'm able to see life through, you know, heart-shaped glasses, where I'm like, life is friendly. Like life is just wanting to teach you. So I want to be grateful for everything. I even want to be grateful for the days where I may not feel really high energy, because I know that my body is speaking to me and I can listen, right? And so for anybody listening, I just want you to practice being grateful for the most random things that you might not normally be grateful for. Because all of the things that you have, of course, it's easy to be grateful for those, right? But how can you also be grateful for the shadows, the lessons coming through, all of those little things? Like bring that to the light through gratitude. I feel like that's crucial for us to just be in this elevated state to manifest more of our goals.
I completely agree. Sorry, my dog is making a little noise right now. If you guys hear it, sorry about that. I completely agree. In a good practice, I did this once, and I remember how beneficial this was, just to start a gratitude practice. Go about your day and just say, I'm going to notice 3 things to be grateful for. And you'll start actually just that awareness, telling yourself, I'm going to look for things to be grateful. You'll start to notice the little things, like, I'm so grateful the sun is shining. I'm so grateful that I get to go to this client today, or whatever it may be. You'll start to notice the little things, and it becomes a practice, and then you'll notice more, and it will just add up. So it's a great way to incorporate that. And like you said, it's a high vibe place to come from. So that's why everybody, I mean, we all know, we hear people say, like, create a gratitude list, like do it in the morning, do it in the night. Because it keeps you in that elevated state. And the more you're grateful for, the more you will attract into your life.
It truly does. And if I can add something, I would say, you know, when you're doing those practices, when you're writing it down in your journal, or when you're noticing, instead of just noticing it and saying in your mind, I'm grateful for this, practice somatically. I love somatic work. And like practice really experiencing in your body what gratitude feels like. For me personally, it'll feel like this like warm tingliness around my heart, and usually like right down my shoulders. And so I allow myself to really bask in that, and really allow myself to like not just think it, I'm grateful, but like feel it. And the more that we can get into those states, and we remember they're like hardwired in our mind, we can just easily tap into that heart space. And I do believe that generally, you know, one of my psychic friends had mentioned this to me before, but the people that are the most open-hearted and that feel more of that, like feeling in your heart, just being grateful all the time, they are those people who are magnetic all the time. And so you're not just doing this for what you can get out of it, but it's a way of living where you're just like, this is like a blissful experience, and I'm going to just make the most of this life. And I just want to feel that sense of gratitude every day.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I love that. I love that. Somatic work for sure. You have to feel it in your body. And I think that's a good practice. I know Tony Robbins, for example, you could look up on YouTube. He has a priming exercise. And one of those pieces, there's 3 pieces to it. One of the pieces is that feeling things you're grateful for. And you actually get to feel it in your body. And it's amazing. You'll become completely emotional because you will feel it in your body. You'll go back to that space. So
yeah, and you'll
beautiful.
like tear up and you just start sensing all of these things coming through in your body, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah. And what do you think about either creating lists or vision boards? I think I've heard you talk about you love doing vision boards. I think you have either a workshop or something you do every year for vision boards. I'm curious, what is your take on it, number one, and how we could utilize it in manifesting things into our life? Because some people will be like, oh, I created a vision board and I'm going to manifest things in my life. And it doesn't quite work that way. There's a lot more to it, as we talked about the process of it. But what do you think about vision boards or creating lists?
I love vision boards, and it was one of the first ways, like after I had tested on manifestation a few times, it was one of like the first practices that I had that really grounded things for me. And the reason I find that vision boards are so powerful is because we get to fully like experience what we want visually. So we get to see it every single day. That's signaling to our subconscious mind, this is real. I see it every single day. But what I find the most powerful about vision boards, and I have mine right over there, is that you get to see it. And again, going back to that experience and embodiment, that the bodily feeling, like that gratitude, if you could do that as you're looking at your vision board every day, again, you're just elevating your state and you're just being a match to what you want a lot faster. So I think they're really powerful, but I really believe we can't just be passive about it and like create a vision board that doesn't evoke anything in us and just have it sit there and just, let it collect dust. Instead, look at it every day and be like, this evokes so much love, passion, gratitude, abundance in my life that I just feel lit up by looking at it. And that I find that is the most powerful. And something that I have my vision board in my office, but then I also have a vision board with my husband. And the vision board that I have with my husband in our bedroom, that one actually has intentions. And so at the start of our relationship, we created a list of intentions that we have in our relationship, just in different areas, in our health, in our sex life, in our, financials, like all of the things. And so we took our favorite intentions and we put them on a vision board. We created this on the computer, so it's not like a cutout, but we found the pictures that we wanted and we have those intentions. So we can now also read those every single day. And we don't read them every single day, but we do see the visual pictures every single day. And that's really powerful for us to remember. And there's times that sometimes we forget and we're like, oh, let's read our intentions. And it just helps us again connect to that heart space, that energy, and align to what it is that we really want out of our relationships. So that's really powerful. I love vision boards, and I do host an event yearly. Last year we couldn't host it because of COVID. And this year, last year we did actually. 2020, we hosted it at the beginning of the year, but then COVID happened. So we didn't host it in 2021, but next year we will be back.
Amazing. Well, I think what's good, what you mentioned, is it's a reminder, because I think when we're going through our days so often, and I could speak for myself, we forget what it is we want. Like we're just in the motion. We're in the mundane, like the same schedule and the to-dos. So if we have a vision board or a list and we revisit it often, it's a reminder of where, again, that GPS, this is where we want to go, and staying in alignment with that and saying yes to the right things and no to the wrong things. I think that's so key. I was going to mention, what was I going to bring up? Oh, the idea of the clarity. So I think it's also important that when you say you want something, whether it be a man, a business, or this, that, and the other, I think the clarity, the more specific, the better. So let's say you want this particular man or this woman. you need to know why you want this certain trait. Like, why is this trait so important for you? And I'll give an example. You want them to be very close with their family. You want them to have a big family and be close to their sister, brother, parents, whatever it may be. And maybe the reason of that desire is because you didn't have it in your life. And that's something you value and that you would love to have a part of your life. So I think it's important being clear, but also asking yourself, why do I want this? So it's like peeling the onion per se is like, oh, I want this. Oh, but I want this because, and this because, so I think that's a great exercise, is knowing, because that will actually pull you closer to what you desire.
1000%. And on a subconscious level, what that's doing is it's telling your subconscious mind, like, I'm worthy of it. And this is why. Like, you're just reminding yourself, this is the true purpose behind what I really want. And that's actually really powerful in all areas of life. Especially, I found like the most powerful for me, at least, has been in my relationship and with money. Like, my relationship with money being like, why? So that I could rewire a lot of those limiting beliefs that I had around money. It was really about like, well, why? Like, why do I want this? Like, what do I want it? How do I want to give back? And how is this going to support me in my purpose to help more people as a result? And so it's really kind of wrapping your mind around that. So it's like, oh yeah, I know that I have a strong purpose for this. It's not just like I'm throwing it up in the air and I say I want it and I want it, but it's like reminding yourself and your subconscious mind why.
Yeah. And the whole idea of achieving what we want or manifesting what we want is also the other step, as we talked about earlier in the episode, is uncovering what is blocking you from getting that. And usually is our beliefs, our subconscious beliefs. So that's why the self-worth, as we like wrap this all up, it all starts with that, like self-belief, self-worth, self-love, is knowing that you are worthy of that thing, because that is truly what's blocking you from getting that. And then once you're on the other side, then you could do all the manifestation work and actually be in alignment and take the action towards it.
Definitely. Yeah. One of the things that I feel like we haven't added yet, but it's really just going back to the self-worth piece, is finding acceptance in yourself, the light, the shadows, like really tapping into self-acceptance. And I used to think that self-acceptance meant, oh, if I'm going to accept this, then that means that I'm not really going to work towards changing it. And that's actually not true. The more we resist, the more it persists. So it's like really tapping into self-acceptance to be like, I am going to love on all pieces of me, even the shadows, even the parts of me that don't feel safe, even the parts of me that feel weird and unaccepted. Like, I'm going to accept those parts. And the more that you accept those parts, the more you can actually create tools, or you can actually dig into tools to actually support you in shifting them. It doesn't make sense to the mind, but it's about really learning to like look at all parts of yourself and be like, I accept you. I want to support you. How can I really like love on you? And it sounds like it doesn't make sense, but it's like really, that was one of the most powerful things for me, is like coming back to self-acceptance and being like, I'm going to accept all parts of me and still find a way to bring all those parts into what I want to do without, leaving one part out of the picture.
So beautifully said. I think self-acceptance is so key to just loving the totality of who we are and everything that's shaped us, because truly everything has shaped us, but so beautifully. And again, that's the whole idea, is just getting us to our highest self and returning home to every bit of the pure soul we already are. So yes, self-acceptance every day. And it takes work, but again, I think I love to say, I think radical responsibility is so key, because once we're responsible, then we are empowered to then shift that narrative, and empowered to then change the trajectory of our life. So acceptance and radical responsibility. And totally and I don't think we talked about this, how important when we're in the process of, achieving what we desire, is surrounding ourselves with the right things. Again, this comes to the yes and no's you say, but also those we surround ourselves with, that you want to surround yourself with the same vibration of that you desire, or people that possibly already have what you desire, because then you're going to constantly be reminded, if it happened for them, it could happen for me. And we have to be able to get to that space knowing that everything is possible. Everybody that has achieved anything in life started from either ground zero, or they could have been handed something, but regardless, they made it possible. Some people are fortunate, or I don't know. I don't even think of it as more fortunate if somebody is handed something. I personally think people are more fortunate that start from ground zero, because they learned how to tackle all the problems that arise in life. And they've learned that, so that if something were to be lost, let's say during COVID or whatever it may be, they know how to obtain it again, because they've learned the process of losing something and then achieving something on their own. They know how to manipulate things to actually bring it back into their life.
Totally. It's like you need to have some quote unquote failure, if you want to call it that, to really have all these lessons that you can bring into all parts of your life.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And so energy is everything. Energy attracts like energy. So I think it's just so important to be mindful of the state of energy we are in and what we give out. Again, that goes back to the self-awareness. It is so key to do something that helps you connect more with yourself, so that you could get to the point where you're so self-aware of where your mind goes and what energy or state you are in. I think it's so important, and doing practices such as meditation is so key. Centering ourselves back up. And again, the whole idea, I've had this on my podcast a lot, because I think meditation, when you were starting off, you feel like, oh, I can't do this. I can't sit still. I can't quiet my thoughts, or whatever we think meditation should be. It's not about being able to control your thoughts or getting into this, if you want to say, meditative state. It's more like being able to just be and let go.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think it's important in the subject of manifestation, because we're usually talking about what do you want that's far out in the future, right? Or maybe not far out, but a few steps out in the future. It's important to also notice that, yes, it's totally okay to desire whatever you want in the future, but the only moment that exists is the now. So the more safety you create within yourself in the now, the more you can enjoy, going back to like that joy, fun, having a fun experience as you're manifesting your goals. Like the more you could actually work towards your goals from this very centered place, because you know that right now is all you have. This is it. Like there is never a future, because every moment we're in the present moment, right? And so yes, we're making our way toward our goals, but that doesn't mean don't live in the present and just be focused on the future. It means like bring that future into the present moment by centering yourself, by experiencing those feelings that you want in the future now. And that does help you manifest your goals. But I'm just so like big on reminding people to just be here, like love what is and be here now. Like just be fully here and alive, and asking yourself the right questions on a day-to-day basis and on a moment-to-moment basis. Like, how can I make this experience right now even better in this present moment?
Yes.
Ask yourself that on like every hour. Imagine if you ask yourself that every hour, how can I make this moment even better? So that might mean you're having a hard conversation, but you're bringing yourself fully and your open heart to that hard conversation. And I love to ask myself that, because that really grounds me into like, this is all we have is right now. So I'm all about helping women manifest their goals and go after their dreams. But the only way we can truly find fulfillment is by being super grounded in the present moment.
Beautiful. So important. And I know so often we are not. So again, getting that self-awareness and knowing where you're at, like, I love that Jesse Itzler said this and it stuck with me. Be where your feet are, whatever you're doing. Be where your feet are. It's such a great statement because it's so true. We are so very often we're in another land. So yes, returning home, returning to where you are right now. It's so beautiful. Well, okay. There's been so much goodness in this. I know there's so much value, so many tangible tools that we could use today that really could get us more clear on how to bring things into our life. And it really is about being and believing we could have what we desire. I think that like I think it was Jim Carrey that said, when you could see it, when you believe it, you will receive it. I don't know if it was him. It might've been somebody else or Wayne Dyer or somebody, I don't know. But
Yeah, and
yes.
it's like reminding yourself that you are totally worthy of everything you desire, and you can embody it now until you manifest it. And so just remembering, like, you get to embody it now, whatever that is, whether it's luxury, like whatever it is that you really desire right now, like find a way to embody that now and notice how your energy and everything around you shifts from that place.
Yeah. And just a friendly reminder, the universe doesn't give us what we want. It gives us who we are. That to me was a game changer for me. You need to embody what you desire and be that person now and learn how to be that and practice that every day.
Yeah, my mentor Alyssa always says, life is a mirror. So whatever
Yes.
you're attracting in another person, in situations, everything is mirroring to us who we are. And so bring yourself fully into this life and take radical responsibility when there's things around you that you don't like. Find a way to just connect that back to, how am I showing up and how can I shift my energy? And things do shift from that place. Everything shifts from that place.
Yeah, I completely agree. Everything you just said. It's a great reminder. And the great reminder is that we are in control of ourselves only, mind you. So that taking that radical responsibility is taking our power back and living from that state so that we could then create what we want and bring out what we want in our life. So important. I sometimes think about that. Like, when I think, oh, for example, like, oh, I didn't want this client. I didn't want this job, whatever, because I want more space to do this. And I'm thinking this in my thought, and then I don't get that client per se. I'm like, I definitely manifested that because I per se, just by the thought, I pushed it away because I knew it was out of alignment with what I ultimately desire. And, and again, this is where you have to let go. Even though this was going to bring me money, but is it driving me closer to my end goal? The universe will always bring you what you need, So I always remind myself this is exactly what needed to be. Let go.
Yeah, let go. It just is, right? And it's like, how can we make the most from this place? It's like, if this is happening, then let's just trust that that's what's meant to happen and create from that place. The other day, I wasn't feeling too well, and I was experiencing monthly cramps. And it always happens to me that those days where I'm energetically telling the universe I need rest, I had a client come up and she canceled right away. And it was just my energy. It wasn't anything else. And I was like, thank you so much to the client and to the universe for just listening to my energy. And I really needed that space to just be alone. And so the universe is always responding to your energy. So be mindful of that, right? How are you bringing the energy that you want to bring into your days?
Yeah. So juicy, so good, so good. I love it. So Annette, I would love if you could share with us, because I know you and your husband have a company called Cohere. And I would love to hear if you could just share a little bit about this company, because I know you're helping a lot of other entrepreneurs, coaches bring their services out into the world.
We sure are, and I would love to share about it. So my husband and I embarked on a journey together to start a software company for coaches last year in 2020. We saw the need for coaches to really get really organized and streamline their systems. And so we created Cohere. And what Cohere is it's a platform for coaches specifically to allow you to sell, deliver, and manage all of your clients and services in one space. And so without comparing other platforms or anything like that, I'm sure you've heard about many platforms that do this. The reason we do this differently is because we also incorporate live video. So we have Zoom integration and our own video portal, and you can also have self-paced courses. So you can do all of the things that we specifically need as coaches in one platform. And we're just super proud of what we've created so far. We also have an academy that teaches coaches how to scale their services. So it's really kind of like your one-stop shop to not only host and have all your systems, but also learn how to scale your business and make a bigger impact in the world, which is what we're truly after, is supporting coaches in expanding consciousness on the planet. And you can check us out at www.cohere.live, and all of your listeners, Erica, will find a way to have like a link for them to create a free account if anybody's interested in diving into the platform.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And of course, I'll share that in the show notes. Sounds amazing. And the fact that you started that during COVID 2020, amazing, because it's definitely, our world has really shifted, this whole online space. And I know so many people are stepping into a more purposeful type of work, and that is helping others achieve whatever it may be, whatever they desire through coaching. So I think that's so wonderful, and I can't wait to check into it more myself. And then in closure, of course, where can people best find you? What's the best platform that you live on?
So I hang out on Instagram the most, and my Instagram account is at Anette De La Rosa with one N. And I also really want to get back to YouTube. And so I will be back on YouTube soon, and with a podcast as well. But the best place to find me for now is Instagram, and connect with me on there. I'm an open book. If anybody has any questions, anything we talked about in this episode that you want to dive deeper on, feel free to DM me. And I usually respond with a voice note pretty quickly. So here to support all of your listeners.
Thank you so much. And of course, this episode will be on YouTube as well, so you can see the gorgeous Anette De La Rosa. And I always like to ask in closure with my guests, if you were to write a book and you were to leave a piece of advice on the first page you feel that everybody needs to hear right now, what would it be?
Ooh, the first thing that came to mind was do what lights you up in this lifetime. Life is too short to do anything that drains you. Be in your heart space energy and do what you're passionate about and live into your purpose.
Beautifully, beautifully said. I am all about that and then some, everything about that. So thank you for that advice. I can't agree more. So much fun. I love this topic. It is so valuable. And I love that everybody has their different way of explaining it. And it's just, obviously you are a living example of creating everything you want and desire out of life, and even in coexistence with your husband. So I think that's so beautiful. So thank you so much for your time and being on the show, Anette De La Rosa.
Incredible, Erica. Thank you so much for being such a radiant light, and I appreciate you having me on. Have a beautiful rest of your day, everybody listening, and Erica too.
Thank you.